Hello gobs and welcome back to another video. If you're not a gob, subscribe, become a gob today. You get to run around in the goblin cave. See how that rhymed? That's pretty good, right? But if you don't know who I am, I'm the Goblin King. I review and talk about and play both tabletop RPGs. I don't play tabletop RPGs on the channel, but I do play video game RPGs, and again, I review and talk about them all the same. And speaking of talking about, today we are reading RPG horror stories. Woo! Yay! I don't know what episode this is. I don't say the episode number anymore because I think all my episodes are messed up now. So whatever, I'm just gonna run with it. But if you guys don't know what this is, I'm going to go on the subreddit of RPG horror stories, and I'm going to read some and get my advice on. You guys get the idea. It's RPG horror stories. What else could I do? So without further ado, let's get into today's stories. Our first story comes from Valkyrie Storm, Those Darned Sneaky Forests. As a forever GM, I obviously jumped at the chance to play in a game being run by a friend of a friend. This was back a couple editions ago when skills with names like Spot and Sneak still had the new rule smell to them. I played a ranger because I'm a power gamer like that. Needless to say, I maxed out Spot proficiency because I'm a power gamer like that. The team is tasked by some quest giver to go to a local town and find out who's been killing sheep, cows, people. I honestly don't remember the details. What I do remember is that after a couple game sessions during which the GM really wanted us to know how he had researched how a particular fabric is made, seriously, multiple half-hour long lectures on the subject every session, we eventually figured out that the goblins were responsible. We were first level, so that makes sense. We start trying to figure out where the goblins are hiding. Are there any mountains or hills nearby where they could live in caves? No. The terrain is tabletop flat in all directions. Is there a tower or ruined keep nearby where they could be hiding out? No. The terrain is tabletop flat in all directions. Everything we asked was met with no. The terrain is tabletop flat in all directions. After literally hours of trying to figure out where those little guys could be hiding, I said, GM, is there anywhere around here they could possibly hide? The DM says, make a spot roll. I rolled, got a 19 on the dice for a total of like 25 or something. He said I didn't see anything. Then, for some reason, one of the other players did something that let me roll again. I think it was some homebrew mechanic, but I wasn't looking at the other character sheet, so I'm not sure. I mean, what's the point, right? If a 25 didn't make it, there's only one number I could possibly roll higher. I rolled a 20. The GM says, you see, about a half mile away, there's a forest. A forest, a half a mile away, on a tabletop flat plain. I needed to roll a nat 20 to spot it. This isn't why I left the campaign a few weeks later, but it certainly contributed. Maybe I'll tell that story for some other time. And speaking of stories, if you guys have your own RPG horror stories that you want me to read, remember guys, it doesn't have to always be tabletop, okay? Maybe there's a video game RPG that you have a really big problem about. I would love to read some video game RPG horror stories on here, but for now, we're just going to keep doing tabletop. So send me an email or send it to my Reddit, and I may read them on the channel, depending on what the context is, or if you want me to. But let's look at this story. So, we have this classic old edition, you can power build or whatever. I'm not going to comment on that. Everybody plays the game differently, and if that's what the GM wanted, then that's what the GM allowed. Now, I won't say the GM was particularly picking on OP here, because rolling a 19, getting a 25, at level 1, not being able to see a forest less than half a mile away. So yeah, him rolling really high, 19. I mean, 19 at level 1 should pass most checks, but getting all the additions to get to a 25, yeah, definitely should have been able to see something. Unless the forest is like magical or something, I highly doubt it. And he had to get a natural 20 to see a forest. Maybe the GM might have misheard him or something along those lines. I'm not sure what the issue could be, because it's not a character thing, because they rolled a 19 and then didn't let him succeed, then rolled a 20 and let him succeed. So obviously there was a chance to succeed somewhere, but was the GM really waiting for a natural 20? Who knows? But the advice you can take take away from this is, well, at level 1, if you're playing in D&D, the DC for most tasks should be set to the standard difficulty. You shouldn't really have impossibly high DCs at low levels unless the task that the player is doing is impossibly high. Now, don't let them attempt to do impossible tasks, or let them, I don't know, it's your playstyle. You guys as GMs can decide what you want your players allowed to say, and you can always say no if you don't want them to do a certain thing. Obviously, don't always say no, but sometimes something's just plain out impossible. So if it's plain out impossible, then just tell your players. I mean, the same thing here. The player asked the GM if there was anything out there, and the GM said no, because the GM was probably looking for a certain role. If you are looking for a certain role, then let your players know. Again, just don't straight up tell your players no. They explain to them that maybe they need to do another check to achieve their goal or something along those lines. Just don't leave your players in the dark. Remember, this is collaborative storytelling. This is not player versus DM. This is everybody in a group playing together, trying to tell a story. So make sure the story is always moving. Not them standing around trying to look for a forest that's just half a mile away that you need a nat 20 to see. Let's move on to our next story. Our next story comes from Fae Magics. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for. Not safe for work. Mind control in Strahd's castle. Essay warning. Dubious consent. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So yeah, if you guys aren't a fan of not safe for work content or whatever this story is about to be about, I mean, mind control and Strahd's castle. I mean, we got another Curse of Strahd story in this episode. Will I ever escape the horrors of Curse of Strahd? I don't know. Let's get into reading, and you have been warned. Some friends and I are running a Curse of Strahd campaign right now, and this is my first time ever playing Strahd, while all the other players have played in or run it before. A few sessions ago, Strahd appeared to my character and offered her a deal. Oh boy, this doesn't sound good. Briefly exchanged one of the party members for the ability to travel to and from Barovia freely whenever she wanted. I made sure to get the clarification that we would be getting this character back. My character decided to offer herself up instead of any of the other party members, and that deal came to fruition 2 sessions ago, and I'm playing a backup character for now. My DM and I finally got time together to detail my character's time at Strahd's castle. Strahd starts to flirt with my character and give her jewelry. What? Strahd starts to flirt with my character and give her jewelry. My character, not wanting to upset Strahd, decides to put on the jewelry. Upon wearing this jewelry, my character had to start making wisdom saves, and the more jewelry she was given to wear, the harder these saves became until I was just auto-filling them. My character was eventually propositioned by Strahd, and being under mind controlled, she agreed. I was never made aware that this was the direction my DM was planning to go with this deal. I felt like I couldn't disagree or stop it now that this was where it had ended up. I'd mentioned previously in and out of character that my character was an abuse survivor already and would have loved a heads up regarding this. I was looking forward to playing my character again post Strahd Castle and navigating the trauma that came with it. But now I'm not even sure if I want to stay in this campaign. My DM is my friend and in multiple other campaigns with me as a player, and I fear the social repercussions leaving the Strahd campaign will have. OP, please talk to your DM about this, or send them a message, do it over text. Just let them know that you're extremely uncomfortable with what happened to your character, especially in content like this. Now, I say it all the time, the DMs are not the grand arbiters that they are upheld to be. Of course, they are the storyteller, but you guys are playing in this story as well. You guys are also your own storytellers, because it is a collaborative storytelling game, at least 5e is, in which everybody comes together to tell a story. And if you don't like the direction the story is going, then you should openly tell the GM or the DM, or whatever, especially here with this type of subject. Yeah, if you don't want this stuff to happen to your character, then let your DM know. The character was propositioned, she was mind controlled, she had to say yes. That is a straight up essay. That is not good. Do not spring these themes on your players. unless everyone has agreed to them. And again, the character that they were playing was already an abuse survivor, which just makes this entire thing worse. So OP, if you are this uncomfortable that you want to leave the campaign, then you need to talk about it with your DM. I know not everybody is that confrontive type, and these are your friends. You don't want to say something to upset them, but you have to say something because you yourself are being upsetted. It shouldn't be fair that you have to be upset and deal with it, and everything continues as normal. If you are uncomfortable, if something does not make you feel okay, if you are not having fun, then talk about it with your GM or just leave. Yes, there will be social repercussions, but if they are truly your friends, then there shouldn't be any type of repercussion. You should just be able to say, I don't feel comfortable playing in this campaign anymore, or something along those lines. Now, guys, I do always say use my advice, or if you that's what you want to call it, use it at your own risk. Okay, I am not a licensed professional. You guys know your friends better than me. I am just a silly little goblin. And why does this always end up happening in Curse of Strahd? Well, let's move on to our last story. Our last story comes from Evolving Eggshell. Ethics for D, but not for me. In my first ever DN campaign, I had made a tiefling paladin, former criminal, who was cursed by her goddess to not be able to harm innocents. Her goal in the Campbell? What is up with me? Her goal in the campaign was to sell her soul and multi-class into a warlock to lift her curse and to be free to live her vile life. I think that's supposed to be life. Whatever. The DM predicted that this character may clash with the other two in the group who were allegedly good characters. So he asked if PvP was okay down the line, and we all agreed after clarifying that PvP should be fair, so no assassinating each other in the night. After a boss fight where I killed the previous champion of this devil, I got the multi-class and became a warlock, lifting my curse. After that, I explained my backstory to the party, and since our goals were aligned for that moment, I proposed we keep together until we deal with the bad guys and we re-evaluate at a later time. Keep in mind that up until this moment, my character had saved children from wolves, had freed cities from occupying cultists, agreed to free some Goliaths that were going to be executed, etc, etc. My party proceeds to kill my character in completely unfair PvP while I had 1 HP and no spell slots left. Their justification: now that the curse is lifted, you would do bad things probably. Okay, no problem. I made another character. The DM resurrected my paladin and she became the big bad of the campaign, swearing vengeance. Pretty cool stuff. Onto the messed up part. Our party came across a druid who murdered civilians, refused to let people gather lumber in a savage winter, and attempted to kidnap a diplomat who she promised to negotiate with. Her justification was that a long time ago humans committed genocide of her tribe, and she's the only survivor, so now she hates humans and wanted to take revenge. Anyway, we defeat the druid and the other two players started talking to her, explaining the situation with other questlines and asking for her help. And I was like, guys, what's going on? Are we going to kill this war criminal or at least imprison her? And they both replied, no, we don't want to. My character was murdered by them because she would have done bad things. Now that she was free of the curse, probably, maybe. Yet the eco-terrorist war criminal was allowed to live and join the party as a DMPC? When I asked this question, the reply was, I am not an actor. I don't think about morality. I just make my character do whatever I want. The DM saw nothing wrong with the whole situation and only told me that if I want to leave the campaign, it was acceptable, no hard feelings. So I left. Before anyone blames me for making an evil character, I was not about to roleplay my character as a murder hobo. There was zero reason for my character to be murdered. And I have to agree. Because her character was cursed to not kill innocents, but I can kind of get the whole idea of not being able to do what you want to do. Like, obviously, murdering innocents is bad. But having a curse that specifically keeps you from doing it, I can see why that would be considered evil. Like, oh, that doesn't sound like a curse. If you want to remove the curse, then be free. Because with this curse, I would imagine that there's some like type of like eye constantly being kept on you to make sure you're not killing innocents. I think that's where it's coming from. Like, even if the curse is something like blatantly, I guess, good, but most people probably wouldn't want a curse that forces something to keep an eye on you constantly. You want to be able to live your own life. Now, is that evil intentions wanting to remove a curse like that? No, I wouldn't say that's inherently evil. Again, it's the whole being told not to do it. Like, yeah, of course, where am I trying to get at with this? I don't think there's any problem with wanting to remove the curse. That's not the main issue here. The main issue here, I don't know what that weird little tangent was about. I guess I was trying to justify the character's actions for wanting to be freed and live their own life, but if you sell your soul, you're not really being freed. But again, that's not the point of the story. The whole point of the story was the backwards thinking of the party. Now, from what I'm reading, the party just basically said that they did whatever they wanted to at the moment because that's what the player wants the character to do. So they'll kill this person who hasn't done anything bad yet, who might do something bad, over the person that's done something bad that probably might do something bad again and wants them to join the party while they killed the other person. Yeah, that is completely backwards logic. But it's a good thing that OP left when they didn't want to. They did try to talk it out with the GM, and they couldn't get anywhere with the GM or the party, so they just left. So guys, if talking it out doesn't ever work, then just leave. There's no reason you have to play in a campaign that you're not having fun, or in a campaign that you're not enjoying yourself. There's no reason. So if you try to talk it out and it doesn't work, then just leave. The old homage of no TTRPGs is better than a bad TTRPG, right? I know the sayings no D&D is better than bad D&D, but there's way more systems than just D&D, guys, okay? There's way more systems out there. Get exploring. But the problem of the story is if you are going to justify things by characters' actions, like, it's kind of like they just said, well, that's what my character would do. But at the same time, not really. Because, again, the whole, this person's done good things, but she might do bad things now. I mean, even with that curse on them, it's not like the curse said they had to help good people. The curse was they couldn't kill innocent people. Maybe actively knowing that they want to break the curse. I guess that's still not a great reason to want to kill another character. And they agreed to fair PvP, not unfair PvP where they can just kill them in one blow because they just got done with a fight. You know, that's not fair at all. So there's that too. So that's one thing. They already went back on that after establishing rules. Because if you guys ever played D&D 5e, PvP doesn't really work out well. People do like doing PvP, but players weren't made to go against players in D&D at least. But you can still do it, I suppose. If that's what your group wants to do, then you can do it. Don't go back on promises. Don't go back on what was established super early on. Like if you set up a stuff at session 0, like, hey, I don't want to see kids get harmed or something, and then you have a kid getting harmed. Yeah, don't do that, people. That's all I can say. So I'm just gonna stop before I dig a hole or something or ramble on too long. I don't know where I'm at anymore. At the end of the day, talk it out. If you can't talk it out, then just leave, like the person in this story did. So with that will conclude our stories for today. If you would have done something different, or if you have your own experience to tag on to it, then leave a comment down below. And I thank you guys for watching. Check my social media, it's all in the description now. And I hope you guys have a lot of a day. May your adventures be free of horrible people.